aftermath of Arab Spring is ripping the country apart.
That's some fucking strong-ass tear gas.
The world is changing. Now no one knows where it's going. But we'll be there, uncovering the news, culture, and politics, and expose the absurdity of the modern condition.
That little child with a huge gun.
I've never seen anything like this before.
It looks like hell on earth. I was interviewing suicide bombers and they were kids.
This is the world through our eyes.
2 years ago, Arab Spring caught the world's imagination. Young people rising up against dictatorial regimes quickly became a global media sensation. But as it turns out, the aftermath of revolutions tend to be very messy, because once the dictators are finally ousted, the resulting power vacuums can lead to even more chaos and more fighting. Egypt, for example, ousted longtime dictator Hosni Mubarak, only to quickly find themselves under yet another autocratic regime. So once again, youth have taken to the streets as the revolution there continues.
2 years ago when the revolution happened, people thought they were going to have a better Egypt. They thought their lives were going to improve. But instead of that, things got worse. Inflation went up, the economy went down, couldn't put bread on the table. What we're hearing is justice or chaos. Every person that we've spoken to, no matter what group they're affiliated with, has lost people. They want to continue with the message that their friends were carrying before they were killed.
When Arab Spring hit Egypt, the world was inspired by people overthrowing an oppressive dictator of 30 years, Hosni Mubarak. The revolution was a popular uprising of different groups uniting for the same cause, but it cost 840 Egyptians their lives and injured at least 6,000 in the process. When the dust settled, the party most poised to rise to power was the most organized, the conservative Islamic group, the Muslim Brotherhood. For over 30 years, the Brotherhood was a radical Islamic organization considered too extreme by a succession of brutal dictators. So extreme, they once counted Osama bin Laden and his number two, Ayman al-Zawahiri, as members. But on June 24, 2012, Dr. Mohamed Morsi, the Brotherhood's chosen candidate, won the country's first election by a margin of just 3.4%. But the honeymoon was short-lived. And just months after his election, Morsi granted himself sweeping constitutional powers, earning himself the nickname Egypt's new pharaoh. We wanted to understand exactly why everyone was so angry with the Morsi regime, so we sat down with Ahmed Al-Nagar, an outspoken economist whose books were banned by Mubarak.
ولكنه للأسف لم يستمع لأنه يتلقى الأوامر من جماعة الإخوان المسلمين. المجلس الأعلى للقوات المسلحة، رئيس المجلس الأعلى للشرطة يعين الموظفين المدنيين والعسكريين ويعزلهم، يعني اللي ما يعجبوش يعزله، وحق مطلق لا قيود عليه في كل الدولة. يعني ديكتاتور لم يحصل على سلطته ولا مبارك نفسه، أقرب لسلطات هتلر.
Making matters worse, this turmoil has all but killed tourism revenues and deeply worsened Egypt's financial crisis.
أنا تقديري إنها كانت في حدود 27% في يناير 2011 وتصل حاليا لحوالي 29.5%. الحقيقة إنه وصل بدون تجاوز حوالي 41 مليار دولار. خلال الأربع سنين هيقترض أكتر من اللي اقترضه مبارك في 30 سنة. وبالتالي لو وصل على هذه الصورة في الحقيقة تبقى في أزمة كبرى. بسوء الأداء الاقتصادي الاجتماعي السياسي، ثورة المجتمع وثورة الشباب أعتقد إن هي لن تهدأ، ضخمة وكبرى ولا قبل للنظام بها.
Nowhere is the rage at Morsi more concentrated than at Tahrir Square.
So this is anti-Morsi, anti-Muslim Brotherhood protest demonstration. Basically they're saying Morsi's a liar and he should get out now.
احنا شباب مصر الجايين قلبنا قلبنا جامد مش خايفين. تحيا مصر.
The youth were at the forefront of the Arab Spring and again in the second uprising. Through both revolutions, Gigi Ibrahim has been one of their most vocal leaders.
People are still out there on the streets because of anger and injustice. Morsi came through elections. The first thing he did was give out a declaration that makes him have the legislative power, the judicial power, and the executive power. That's not democracy. We're seeing really a mockery out of this whole revolution.
Furthering tensions on the ground is the fact that Morsi has not reformed the dreaded Ministry of Interior, the security force Mubarak used to suppress protesters with extreme violence.
Police attack protesters in all different kinds of ways. The normal beating, dragging, stripping, torturing, raping, sexual assault. Police targets eyes. I think at least 3,000 people have lost at least one eye. The lack of justice and freedom are bringing people into the revolution even more. Freedom of expression is a right that we're fighting for because it's a right that we gained after the revolution that we would like to keep. The revolution didn't end after Morsi got elected. The revolution is continuing, and as long as the demands of the revolution have not been fulfilled, you will always find people on the street.
The anger seemed everywhere, so much so that we couldn't even take the subway without running into another protest. There was so much rage directed at the Muslim Brotherhood, so we tracked down their spokesperson, Nader Omran, to get their point of view.
It's a bit troublesome for the past 1.5 years, but we are used to this, yes. We know it's not that easy. Egyptian people hasn't practiced democracy maybe ever.
So can you tell us what the vision is that the Muslim Brotherhood has for Egypt?
We are a society which was formed to revive the Islamic vision, which can include all aspects of life. And now we have a chance to apply our vision in Egypt, which hopefully will be successful.
There are a lot of detractors from this, I think. People are saying, well, nothing's changed. We had one dictator, and now he's been replaced with an even worse dictator. How does a government deal with a situation like that? Because when you go out to Tahrir Square or the presidential palace and you talk to the people, it's crazy out there.
Yes, exactly. There were tens or hundreds of young people who are throwing Molotov cocktails into the presidential palace. It's unprecedented. For example, if you heard about the Black Bloc,
Yeah.
the Black Bloc, for example, these are vandals. This is the point. I mean, it's not a matter of if you agree or don't agree. The matter of we don't have a specific or comprehensive vision of what we really want. It's like a child. Please ask them and tell them, what's after? What's after this? There's no reply.
Egypt's Black Bloc is one of the most active groups in the post-revolutionary front. Their name is derived from the black masks and hoods popularized by Western protesters for years and adopted by Egyptians to conceal their identities since Arab Spring.
So this is the martyr wall here. These are all the people that have died during the revolution. We're gonna go meet with the Black Bloc right now. They are a group that's been labeled as terrorists by the government. They want us to meet them in an alleyway around the corner from here. No one really knows what their deal is. They're a bit of a mystery. All right, guys, thanks for meeting us tonight. Can you tell me what the main mandate is for Black Bloc?
بنلحق خسائر ماديه بس مش بنسرق منها حاجه وناخدها لينا. احنا بنكسر الحكومه مش اكتر، وهنعمل تكتيك بلاك بلوك ان احنا هنحارب المؤسسه الراسماليه اللي ماسكينها الاخوان اللي هم ماسكين البلد بالاقتصاد.
هم كل اللي فهموه من البلاك بلوك ان هم ناس بيلبسوا اسود في اسود وبينزلوا اشتباكات، لكن هي مش كده. احنا نازلين ضد الاقتصاد الاخواني ونازلين ندمر اي حاجه للاقتصاد الاخواني في البلد. احنا بالنسبه لنا احنا شايفين بكل اختصار ان الاخوان المسلمين منافقين، ناس خونه، ناس سرقوا الثوره، ناس قتلوا الثوار، حال الثوره في ايديهم ان هم سرقوا الثوره.
Can you tell me about some of the sacrifices that you've had to make?
صحابنا احنا اللي كنا نعرفهم شخصيا اللي هو جابر صلاح.
جايين نقف هنا في المكان اللي مات فيه جابر، مات في المكان ده بالظبط، قناصة الداخلية. الحاجات دي كلها مش فارقة معانا، أهم تضحية احنا قدمناها تضحية في الأرواح، دم أصحابنا الشهداء. سواء بقى هيمشوا بالطرق السلمية، وأنا شايف إن الطرق السلمية مش هتنفع، هما يمشوا بالعنف. فالقصاص ده هيجي إن أنت هتواجه القتلة دم الداخلية والإخوان المسلمين وقبلهم المجلس العسكري. هما دول أمنية وجايين يشوفوا فيه، مفيش منهم خطر قوي يعني.
ده يرجع لكم لو تحبوا تصوروا وحاسين بأمان اوكي، لو مش حاسين بأمان نمشي.
These kids have plenty of reason to be paranoid. Their friend, Gabor Salah, was only 16 in November of 2012 when he took his place on the martyr wall.
So we're meeting some of the protesters. They've agreed to show us essentially their lab where they make the Molotov cocktails and these homemade missiles in a strange building.
Nice to meet you.
So what are some of the techniques that you guys use and how do you fight?
Basically, we don't have any heavy weapons. We just have Molotovs. We need to win some field in the battle.
Right, right.
We're not terrorists. We are fighting for our rights. We are fighting for our country.
And so this violence that exists in post-revolutionary Egypt, has it affected you and your friends and your families?
Everyone has been affected. I've witnessed some of my friends being killed. They are martyrs and murderers, yeah.
And that gives you even more motivation to fight, I assume.
Yeah, so they didn't die in vain, yeah.
The Black Bloc informed us that they would be taking part in a massive protest that night.
So we're right by the presidential palace. It's a 2-year anniversary to the day when Hosni Mubarak stepped down. What these people want is President Morsi to step down. Go around the barbed wire closer. Hanging on the front door of the palace. Looks like they're trying to bust it down. Imagine if this happened in Washington, D.C. at the White House. People scaling the wall, smashing the front gate, and battling with the police. So they start with water, and then what do they do?
Dear God, then they talk to
So this is the first wave of retaliation. That is fucking strong ass tear gas. I feel like it just singed a layer of my skin off.
The police are back, they're shooting tear gas, and they're about to switch to rubber bullets.
فارق معانا دلوقتي المستقبل ولا فارق معانا اي حاجه. كل اللي فارق معانا دلوقتي قصاص لدم الشهداء. فالقصاص ده هيجي ان انت هتواجه القتله.
وهذه هذه هي الثورة الاجتماعية الأكثر هولاً التي يمكن أن تأتي بشكل متكامل في الفترة القادمة. هناك إلى حالة من الانفجار، ليس بالاستقرار السياسي ولكن بالدولة الإسلامية.
Whole mountains of ice are just falling into the sea. We're in for trouble.
Indeed. This is where the Soviets tested all their weapons. This is the epicenter of a nuclear bomb.
In the last 6 months, you have 9,000 IEDs. That's an IED?
Once you get someone in, they can never leave.
Even police helicopters don't dare fly over here, because 2 years ago one was shot down by an anti-aircraft gun. Fun place to live.
Okay, let's get out of here.